Hi there, guys. This is my Memphis Grizzlies big man NBA draft big board, okay? So I'm going to be doing one of these for each different position group. First, big men, highest priority of need, highest priority of need. Then wings, second highest priority. Then guards, lowest priority. And this isn't the best players. I'm saying this is specifically for the Grizzlies, the big board, all right? So if I was the Grizzlies, this is who I would be taking in order. And this isn't based on realism, how likely we are to get them, nothing to do with that, right? Anything can happen on draft night, and this draft especially. There's no locked pick. So, with that being said, keep that in mind. Realism is not a factor. It's purely just if we had everyone on the board, who would we take and in what order? So, without further ado, kicking us off, the best Memphis Grizzlies prospect in this whole entire draft is Donovan Clingan, a 7'3", 280-pound center who won back-to-back national championships. And he's pretty ideal for what the Grizzlies need right now. He would slot in perfectly at the 5 next to Jaren Jackson, creating an absolute monster for front court. 6'11" Jaren, 7'3" Donovan Clingan, the former Defensive Player of the Year in there. A lot of people saying Donovan Clingan could be a future Defensive Player of the Year. Getting a lot of Rudy Gobert comparisons, and rightly so. He's also got, I think, almost an 8-foot wingspan. 7'7", I believe. Maybe not quite 8 foot. Maybe it's longer. It's very long. And with that, he uses that to make himself a ginormous paint presence. Great in drop coverage, think of sort of someone like a Brook Lopez in that aspect. Great in drop coverage, great at deterring shots, and can rack up blocks. So you have this, right? You've got whoever your point of attack defender is. Let's say it's Marcus Smart. You've got Marcus Smart coming down, right, guarding Doncic, whoever you want to say. Guarding Doncic, right? Marcus Smart goes over the screen. He's chasing down Doncic. Maybe Doncic's got him sealed, whatever. But then you've got Donovan Clingan there, 7'3", guarding him like this. And then even if he were to get past him, right, you still got to factor in Clingan might just still block you from behind because he's that long. But also you got Jaren Jackson Jr. coming off the weak side, coming off Derrick Jones in the corner, coming across, and he's... Jaren Jackson led the NBA in blocks a couple years ago. He won Defensive Player of the Year, and now we're adding another player who's potentially just as good at blocking shots. It's got the potential to be an absolute nightmare. We saw what the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to do this year with Gobert at the 5 and Cat at the 4. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is 3 times the defensive player Cat is, alright? So regular season, I think it would make us maybe the best defense in the league, even as soon as next year. Yeah, that's too much, it probably is. But definitely for years to come. Playoffs, there's always the chance someone like Donovan Clingan gets played off the floor a little like a Luka Doncic, or by someone like a Luka Doncic or a Steph Curry maybe. But I think, even then it's like you still have Jaren as that insurance, But also, you trust Chandler Jenkins to be able to create a scheme that doesn't have to have him on the perimeter too much. But, as far as 7'3" footers, 7'3", as far as 7'3" footers go, he is pretty mobile. He's no Victor Wembanyama or Chet Holmgren out there, but he can move his hips. He can arguably better than Gobert out there. He's decently fluid, and obviously that's not where you want him. That's why you have someone like Jaren who can do that sort of stuff. If you want to play a hedging sort of defense, then you can have Jaren there. But as far as drop coverage goes, as far as defending some of the best centers in the league, like a Jokic, like an Embiid, he is your man. Offensively, really good passer. That's what a lot of teams have been saying about his workouts and stuff. Really good passer. If you blitz Jar dumps it off to him. He's also got very good hands, which is something me and my sort of somewhat casualness as an NBA fan don't quite take into consideration. But not everyone can catch a ball well. But Donovan Clingan can catch a ball well, whether it's high, whether it's low. And Jar's an awesome passer, obviously. So Jar gets blitzed, throws it to Donovan Clingan. Maybe he takes a dribble, sprays it out to Jaren Jackson or a cutting Desmond Bain, Marcus Smart, whoever. He can make passes out of the post, top of the key, if you want to run some off-ball stuff for Jar, some DHOs with Desmond Bain. Whatever it is, Donovan Clingan can do it. Great finisher around the rim. He's 7'3", he's huge. He knows how to use that size. He's no Joel Embiid in the post, but he knows how to use his size. And I think in the future, he's a sophomore, he's 20 years old, could definitely be a go-to post-scoring option, if it's a favourable matchup, if you're playing like a Golden State Warriors and you've got Draymond Green on him. Draymond Green's a terrific post defender, but still, maybe you swing it down to Donovan Clingan down on the block. He's got like 8 inches on him, so you'd assume he'd be able to do something with that. And you're not banking on it by any means, but some shooting potential teams are saying from his workouts. And again, you're not banking on it. That doesn't need to hit for him to be a good pick. But if it does, okay. A decent free throw shooter, I think, potentially. Or maybe not decent, but he's not a hackable free throw shooter by any means, which the Grizzlies need. And there's just not a whole lot of flaws in his game. The only ones really being his shooting, sort of potential lack of offensive upside, and potentially getting played off the floor in some matchups. But he's 20 years old. He's a winner. I mean, you don't get back-to-back national championships by not being a winner. And he was the anchor for that UConn team. And the number one Memphis Grizzlies prospect in this draft. If we can get him he won't fall past 7. I've seen multiple things saying that the Trailblazers will take him if he comes to 7, which if they do, Robert Williams, you wanna anyway. I've seen 3 feels like you're gonna have to give up a lot because Reed Shepherd's a really good prospect and the Rockets probably will take him, So 3 feels like very high to move up, but I've seen a few mock drafts have us moving up to 6 because let's say Stephon Castle and Reed Shepherd are both off the board at 6 for the Hornets, then they're probably the next best option is Connect or Devin Carter, which they might think both of those guys might not be there at 9, but they also might be there at 9. So it would make sense for us to trade up. It's only a few picks. I don't think we'd have to give up too much. Most of the mocks I've seen, it's just like a lottery predicted pick next year or top 10 predicted, which, isn't great because next year's looking like an awesome draft. But if it means you can take Donovan Clingan, like one of the best interior defensive prospects we've seen and just the perfect piece to add to the Grizzlies, you do it. It rounds out the starting 5, gives us some incredible length, and you do that in a heartbeat. Number 2 on the Grizzlies, big man, big board, and still probably overall number 2, my favorite prospect for the Grizzlies to be able to draft. Probably the most unlikely one, but that is Alex Sarr. Alex Sarr is a 6'11", 7'4" wingspan, power forward / center. Reports are saying he wants to be playing the 4 more in the NBA, which can work with the Grizzlies. Pretty much, he's the prospect version of Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, if he reaches his ceiling, it'll look a lot what Jaren Jackson Jr. is now, which I don't think the Grizzlies front office, the Grizzlies players, or any Grizzlies fans would turn down the opportunity of having 2 Jaren Jackson Jr.'s in their team. So, 7'4" wingspan, very mobile. He's quite slim, he's quite slender, but he's 19, so he'll fill out his frame. He's French. He is, incredibly good on the perimeter, great shot blocker, can defend 1 through 5, probably throwing out a bit too much, but he has, he's a very versatile defender, has potential to be very good on switches, very good in hedging defenses. He's incredible at recovering after, getting out to the perimeter or something. Can be great as a weak side shot blocker, can be a great pick and roll defender. That's him defensively, right? Not a great rebounder, so having 2 players that aren't great rebounders, it's not ideal. But nevertheless, again, that front court would be scary defensively, and you'd be able to throw out some filthy, filthy defensive schemes with 2 6'11" players that can both move their feet on the perimeter, block shots, guard in the post. Like, it would be filthy defensively. Offensively, takes a lot of jumpers, doesn't make many. Loves a midi. Takes a fair amount of threes, shot like 27%. I expect him to be kind of like a Jaren Jackson from out there. Probably got a better shooting form than Jaren Jackson. But yeah, he's no sharpshooter. He doesn't have a reliable post game. Can probably punish smaller defenders, but definitely not like 6'6" and above, even from day one, I wouldn't say. Good driver, very fluid handle, like a big man win, if that makes sense. And yeah, good passer, tries to make a lot of like crazy passes, they don't all come off. But yeah, I think Jaren Jackson's player profile when he was coming out, even Mobley, think about these guys when you're talking about Alex Sarr. The fit, it poses questions, there's a bit of an overlap in skill sets and doesn't really give Ja like the perfect rim running center. It gives you a lot of offensive versatility, a lot of defensive versatility. And there's a reason he's a #1 prospect on a lot of big boards, right? Number 3 center on the Memphis Grizzlies board. And let's make it clear, there's a significant drop between the top 2 and the next ones, but the next one is Khalil Ware out of Indiana, I want to say. Sophomore big man, was one of the top prospects coming out of high school. It was him and Derek Lively as the top 2 big men in that class. There were a lot of questions about like his motor, his willingness to work, all that sort of stuff in his freshman year. But by some accounts, it seems like those have been sort of quashed, especially in the sort of pre-draft process. Seems like he's got his head screwed on. And I have here, put simply, if Ware reaches close to his potential as a center, he would be like the perfect Memphis Grizzlies center for this current team we have. He's 7 foot. He's got, I think, a 7'4" wingspan. Potentially a 7'4" wingspan, 7'2" to 7'4", I want to say. He jumps out the gym. He's a very good interior scoring presence. Averaged a lot of points last year, maybe like 16 points. He shot 42% from 3 on only about 1 attempt a game. But still, that's significant because it shows flashes that he can definitely be someone who's reliable from outside. Jumps out the gym, would be an incredible rim running lob target for Ja. He's quick, he can move his feet on the perimeter. Man, it's a real common theme among the centers in this draft that they can move their feet on the perimeter. Pretty much everyone except for Edie. Obviously Clinton, it's not a strong suit, but everyone except for Edie. He might have a shot. He should be able to defend well on the perimeter. He's an incredible shot blocker. Great rim protector. Like, when I say all these things, you think he sounds like, the modern day Shaquille O'Neal. Not quite, okay? He still makes some bit of boneheaded plays, and just like for someone as talented as him, you sort of think, why isn't he having more production? But look, he's not getting us to be the #1, 2, 3, 4 option on this team. He'll be the 5th option, and his job is to set hard screens for Ja, make plays out of the short roll when he needs to, finish lobs, finish around the rim, potentially pop, potentially go on the corner when we're doing 5-out stuff, and it's all very intriguing. It's very intriguing. The question just, will he reach his potential? Is the shooting real? Is he that... It sounds weird to question a player's, willingness to improve, all that sort of stuff, but will he do that? Who knows? But if he does, just the idea of 2 7-footers in the front court, one just uber athletic, shot blocking, running around on the perimeter, finishing lobs, 5-out plays. It's a scary sight. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't take him at 9, and first choice is still definitely trade up for Klingon, in my opinion, if you can get that done without getting rid of any core players. Um, but yeah, if you trade back to maybe like Portland's 14th pick, there's a chance Portland, if they don't take a big man at 7, they would take him at 14. Maybe OKC take him at 12. Um, but yeah, if you can trade back, get future assets or like a decent piece for him, then I think that'd be really, really interesting. You definitely want to pick up. I don't think you'd want him starting from day one unless he just blows you away in preseason. But yeah, you go pick up like a minimum center to start for now, and then you have him sort of developing. It's enticing. It's enticing. It's enticing for sure. And yeah, if he reaches his potential, right? Yeah. Now, number 4 on the Memphis Grizzlies centre big board is perhaps the most well-known player in this draft. Perhaps is Zach Edey, 7'4", 300-pound centre who senior at Purdue. At Purdue? No, no, it is Purdue. Yeah, senior at Purdue. Led the nation in scoring, I believe, this year. Was in the national championship game, only fell short to Klingon's Yukon. Um, and the floor is pretty nice with a player like Edie, right? You know you're getting a huge interior presence on the offense and defensive end. Offensively, can set screens, can finish around the rim, got good touch, can abuse smaller players. Yeah, even off the bench, I think he could be a 15 point per game scorer. I think if he, gets close to his ceiling, maybe develops a bit of a shot, keeps adding to his bag, he could easily be an efficient 20 point a game scorer, I think, because, you're scoring 25 a game in college, and is he going to get that type of role in the NBA? By no means. By no means. But still, best player in college basketball, that means something. And it's just something the Grizzlies haven't had since Jonas Valanciunas, someone you can just chuck the ball to down in the post and just say, go give me a bucket. And I remember in that Jazz series, just Jonas Valanciunas just came with some timely buckets every now and then, playing games as well. Just like, it was just so nice having a 5 you could just throw the ball to at the end of shot clocks and just like get up something, And Edie can definitely be that guy. Defensively is where all the question marks are. He's realistically going to get played off the floor in a lot of matchups, and he'll get hunted badly for switches and all that sort of stuff. And when you have someone like Marcus Smart defending, or Vince Williams, it puts a lot of those worries lesser to the forefront, because you trust that they can just fight around screens enough to be able to cover for him. And when you have someone like Jaren as well, like if there's any team that would be able to cover for him, it's probably us and OKC, just with the amount of speed and versatility we have. But yeah, the floor is pretty high, the ceiling's kind of low. But even the ceiling, like realistically, his ceiling could be a 25 point per game scorer in the NBA. It's just who's going to give him that role, who's going to play him 30 minutes a night? Probably no one, right? But I still think it's worth a swing if he's sliding down the board and you can get him for a fairly cheap price. I think it's worth a swing. There are defensive issues, but even having that type of player on the bench that in certain matchups you can just say, sweet, we've got a player we can just dump the ball down to. You're not going to be able to switch Ja Morant pick and rolls by any means. And yeah, it's intriguing. At 5, I have Deron Holmes. I'm a huge Deron Holmes fan. Deron Holmes the second, my bad. I love his game. I really love his game. And I watched one interview with him, and you get this sense from other coaches around the league and stuff that have talked to him that he's an awesome kid, you know, he's a great kid, incredibly nice, loves basketball, just loves adding stuff to his bag constantly. And you've seen that with his progression over his 3 years at college. First 2 years, very much sort of, yeah, a bit more of a one-dimensional player, you know? It's like shot 26% from three over his first 2 years. But this year, shot, I believe, 38% from three on 2.5 attempts per game, which is significant, you know? That's over double the amount of attempts that Weir was taking, despite being 4% lower accuracy. And yeah, it is his first year shooting them. He's not a great free throw shooter, it's below 70%, so you wonder how legit it is. But yeah, the shot looks good, the mechanics look really good. He even had a couple like step back attempts this year. I think one went in, one didn't, of the two I've seen. But yeah, at 6'10", center shooting step back threes, you know, that's enticing. That gets your attention, you know. If he develops that part of his game, you know, you see sort of like a Naz Reid type of player coming through. And again, you're not banking on that because he's got enough true center attributes that mean he can be effective without that sort of thing. But still, you're interested in it. You think, oh, okay, okay. As far as his just natural attributes, you know, he's a great rim runner. He's athletic, can catch lobs, can shoot the ball as we're talking about. Potential pick and pop partner for Jar. He's a good passer. He's quite a good passer. Yeah, made some really, really good passes with, you know, right and left hand. And he also shows some flashes of like being in the corner, getting a kick out, pump fake, and then driving to the rack, you know? And again, you're not banking on him being like a wing in that sort of aspect for you. But still, you know, the potential for 5-out lineups where you can swing the ball to your center and he can drive to the rim. It's enticing. Defensively, his best attribute, he's a great shot blocker, 2.5 blocks per game. You know, he's got good wingspan, 7 foot plus. And yeah, very versatile, like can guard guards, can legitimately guard guards if you need him to. So very modern in that aspect. And I only thought of this today when I was sort of writing the blurb about Deron Holmes. I haven't seen this comparison for him, but if everything clicks, I think Al Horford is his sort of ceiling type of prospect. You see a lot of Miles Turner, which is fair, but I just think with his versatility on the defensive end, with, you know, interior presence, the ability to be switchable and play many different defensive schemes, and also his offensive versatility, you know, can run the pick and roll like a normal center, but also can stretch the floor, can take his man off the dribble when he needs to, you know. It sounds a lot like Al Horford. Now, will he reach that? Who knows? He's already 21 or 22, right? He was a junior in college this year. So again, you're not banking on all of that happening, but if you add even an Al Horford light in this draft in like probably the 20s, that's significant. That's very significant. And if he slips into the 30s, my gosh, please, Grizzlies, trade up for him. Trade up for this man. Yeah, I really like him, and I think he would be an awesome, awesome piece in a potential lineup with Jaren Jackson. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about Yves Messi, but from what I've seen, he's an uber athletic, 6'11", maybe 6'10" center with a long wingspan, 7'2" to 7'4" again. Yeah, jump out the gym. He's got some incredible posters, and yeah, be an awesome pick and roll partner for Jar. Awesome lob threat. Defensively, awesome shot blocker, pretty versatile, can get out on the perimeter. Again, big wingspan, like it would create an awesome defensive front court with Jaren. But he's got absolutely no shot, and that's what Deron Holmes has over him for me. Deron Holmes definitely less athletic, slightly less big, But the shot and the offensive versatility is what has him above for me. Similar defensive prospects, I'd say. Maybe Messi's got a bit more upside just due to his athletic tools. But yeah, no shot, low-key hackable free throw shooter at this rate. I think he's below 60%. And yeah, that's about it. Now, there's also Kyle Filipowski, there's Adem Bona, there's some other center prospects that I don't know a ton about. They could be good, they could not be, who knows. The Grizzlies have done their scouting, I don't know. But those are the top 6 for me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you think the Grizzlies should be going for a traditional center in this draft, whether you think Jaren's the future 5. Definitely sounds like from what Zach Kleiman said that they see Jaren more as the 4, or they at least want to have the option of a true 5 on their roster, which is fair enough. But if Donovan Clingan's off the board and you're still picking at 9, do you reach? Do you trade down? Do you take a wing or a guard and then look for one later in the first round using your 2 second rounders to trade up? Let me know, and yeah, respect.